Hi, this is Jack Westman for ESEAnews.com here in Paris, France for the Electronic Sports World Cup 2012. Joining me today is Sean Gares from Area 51. First of all, Sean, welcome to Paris. How was the trip?
The trip was it was pretty long, I'm not gonna lie. It took us a day or two to get kind of acquainted with the time schedule and everything like that, and just kind of lose the jet lag from the initial flight. So we are all stoked that we got here very early because it was rough those first 2 days, that's for sure.
Yeah. So you guys have actually been boot camping here for a few days, right? When exactly did you get here? Whereabouts are you boot camping? Can you tell us a little bit about it? And what in particular have you been working on?
Sure, so we all arrived Sunday morning. From Sunday morning, we all stayed at the hotel pretty much all day. We ate out and stuff like that. We started boot camping Monday. We've been at this land called Milk Land. It's
good name for a land?
Yeah. Well, it's not the best land, let's put it that way. The comps can't really run CSGO properly, and the monitors are 60 hertz, so it's pretty rough. And there's no room. It's really kind of meant to be a World of Warcraft kind of land, and Dota and stuff like that. But we've been using it for CS, and it's worked for tactics, but it's really tough to play some of the top teams when you're at such a disadvantage.
What kind of? I saw you. I've seen you scrimming like pro gaming and a few other teams. Who have you been trying to avoid teams in your group? I mean, who have you played so far?
So we did play pro gaming. We believe we can beat them. That's one of the teams we think we can beat. A Nexus from the other group was probably the team that owned us the hardest. A Nexus was very good when we played them. That was our first scrim though, so it's hard to kind of judge something like that when you're adapting on the first scrim. They beat us really bad. We played very games on a few maps. We hung with them pretty well actually. That went really well actually, the very game scrims. Other than that, I'd say we scrimmed a couple other kind of mid-tier European teams. We're trying to not play teams in our group for the most part. We strayed away from NIP. We originally had a bunch of BO3 scheduled with NIP, but I've kind of switched out and kind of focused on the other group.
Yeah, okay, so interesting that you've played very games. So you were just watching very games over there. Hope you learned something. But in general, I mean, Dynamic and Czech 6 were here last year, and you know, they kind of matched up against the European teams in Source. How do you guys think you're going to match up against teams like NIP? I know you haven't played them, but I mean, is there kind of a fear element there, a respect element, or if it comes down to the final, you're on the stage against NIP, do you have a shot, pretty much?
We feel comfortable playing them. It's for the most part, it's pretty easy to read what they do because they play a lot like us. I feel the American style play versus the teams we've been playing against in America is much different. It's much more fast-paced, rushing groups of 4 or 5 people. And that's kind of a lot of the part due to HMO success. People want to copycat HMO, and they play way different than anyone here. So we're kind of adapting to the European style play, and we're glad that we came to boot camp because it has been enlightening to kind of see that teams do kind of play similar to us in that they run defaults and slower. They're a bit more crisp than us, I feel like, on executions, but we are like working on fixing that kind of stuff.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your roster change. Immediately after you, well, pretty much immediately after you qualified for this event, you dropped Pinecone from the roster, picked up Trey TCK Martin. What were the reasons? Who should have been doing the interview, but he's bailed on us. What were the reasons behind the roster change? And I guess now the fact that you have 2 Source players on the team, as well as the 1.6 core, how does that help your chances in the tournament?
Personally, I believe that the Source ideology, strat, mindset is much more helpful in this game than the 1.6. I see that the Europeans incorporated more 1.6 than Source, which I find interesting. But I think that Daze's strats that he has from Source work much better against American teams. Maybe because they play choke points more, they rush more. Americans play much more aggressive CT sides. They don't allow you to execute. So it's different. It's 2 completely different play styles. But I think that the Source ideology and strategies have helped us out significantly. All the smokes that Trey knows, TCK is like the smoke master. It's crazy. He'll like stay up with Semphis till like 3 a.m. finding them. So that stuff helps a lot. It really does.
Yeah, and sorry, the Pinecone. So I guess it definitely helps. Was that the main reason behind swapping Pinecone out for Trey?
There was some like inter-team rumblings and stuff like that when Pinecone was on the team. We had a lot of arguments and stuff like that. It wasn't really working out as far as like team practice schedule, and just a lot of conflicting ideas about strats and stuff like that. It just didn't work out. He's a great player. We all think he was definitely one of our best fraggers as far as that goes. But as far as our tactics go, we didn't feel like he fit as well as Trey does.
Okay, sure. And sorry, just getting back quickly now to the. You said Source players give you that different perspective, the smokes and things. What do 1.6 players teach Source players about this game? Because obviously it's still Counter-Strike, right? You must bring something to the table as well.
I feel like 1.6 mid-game and just like how to break down in a 3v3 rounds, how to incorporate all parts of the maps, make presence on places that you're not hitting, send fakes. I feel like that's more 1.6 heavy in our team and throughout the community. As far as initial takes, flashes, smokes, all that stuff, that's all Source. Whoa, that's all Source. Pretty much all throughout Europe, all throughout America. But when the round breaks down, I feel like that's when 1.6 kind of takes over.
Okay. Sorry, touch that on a second. Okay, so the Dreamhack invite, right? Dreamhack is 3 weeks away. Obviously, Dynamic got the invite over you guys. I know it's a sensitive issue, so I'm trying to figure out how to word it really. But were you guys disappointed by that? Do you feel like you should have been there? And I mean, there's always the chance you could go and play in the qualifier at the event and work your way into the main tournament. What are your kind of thoughts on the whole thing?
We actually did get invited to Dreamhack, contrary to popular belief. We declined. They couldn't really give us any funding or anything like that, and with this LAN, we've asked Area 51 for so much for this LAN to help us boot camp, to help us prepare. We've asked them for so much for ESEA. They've helped us all over the place. Area 51's been so great to us. So we decided to set out Dreamhack just to kind of let them kind of get their budget back up for us to kind of maybe come out for a future LAN. It's just at a really inconvenient time with this LAN, ESEA, and Dreamhack all kind of clustered together. So we decided to set it out.
And just penultimately, this is your first international event, right? And not only that, you're the sole American representatives here in the Counter-Strike Global Offensive Tournament. Pressure or not?
I mean, it wouldn't really count as international, but we played international teams at Arbalet and IEM New York, so I have played international teams. I've never left the country. I saw you wrote that Semphis hasn't. He's actually been to China, Chile.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's been all over. So
my mistake.
It's me, it's Hiko and I though for the most part. But yeah, it's really exciting, and I'm glad I've had time to adjust to just the space that you're given in Europe. It's much smaller than America, obviously. Just living quarters in Europe are just much smaller. So it's nice that we had some time to adjust. I'm not gonna lie, because I was clueless as to how Europe works.
Right. Yeah, sure. And if you're pushed to order the top 3 from the grand finals at this event, top 3 gold, silver, bronze, who would you go for right now?
Not gonna include ourselves, obviously, but. We haven't played against NIP, but I am in sort of a group with Get Right and stuff like that, and they play a lot. So I think NIP will have a high chance to win this tournament. I originally thought Very Games, it looks like they're having a lot of trouble right now at ESWC France. Yeah, and Nexus is playing very well. I heard FM Toxic is playing really well also. If I had to guess, I would probably go them 3, somewhere in the top, not including us.
Okay, good to know. And lastly but not least, shout-outs.
So shout out to Area 51 for obviously sending us out here, getting TCK out here, so because his flight actually wasn't paid for and all that, so they've been great to us. Shout out to all of our sponsors, stuff like that, Steel Series for giving us some gear and whatnot. Just everyone who's been so great to us. The people at Milk have honestly, even though it's not the best LAN center for gaming CSGO, they've been awesome. You have no idea the troubles we had. We couldn't get CSGO to run for 3 hours, and they were so helpful. So everyone here is honestly being so nice to us. It's crazy.
Okay, awesome. Sean, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck starting tomorrow, right? Yeah, it's Friday tomorrow. Lost track of days. Right, and hopefully I'll catch up with you again for another interview.
Awesome. Sounds
okay.
good, dude.
Thank you very much.